Yeah, I appreciate everyone being here today. Looking forward to meeting you guys and getting to know you. I'm excited to be here in Blacksburg, to be a part of this staff and this community. You know, it's a privilege to work at a place like Virginia Tech, especially when you're the special teams coordinator in the history of this place. And then you combine that with our head football coach and Coach Franklin and how much success he's had at every place he's had. So every day I get a chance to come in here. It's exciting, privileged to be here, and let's take some questions.
All right, again, if you would just identify yourself and your outlook, that'd be great. Andy.
Hi, Doug. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline.
Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm curious, did you have a connection to Coach Franklin or to this staff? How did this opportunity come up for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, I've known Coach Franklin from afar. We've met before in a school and recruiting, just real quickly. But Ty Howell, the offensive coordinator, we were graduate assistants together at NC State. I was actually in Ty's wedding, believe it or not. So we go way back. So this is kind of a really cool deal, you know, for full circle moment for the both of us. And so obviously that was a huge impact to knowing somebody on the staff, and got involved in the interview process and came down here around mid-December and had a great interview with Coach. And it was an awesome opportunity. And, I mean, you could tell pretty quickly why he's been as successful as he's been. And the second he called to offer me the job here, it was a pretty easy yes.
Damian Sordelet with the Roanoke Times.
Right.
I wanted to ask you about the actual special teams unit. You're inheriting John Love, who's one of the more accurate kickers in the nation, long snapper. You will have to have a new punter, but how do you like the makeup of this unit? And did you feel like you got a head start because you had some experienced pieces in place?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you talk about special teams, the specialists are the number one piece to get that thing started. And when you got a guy like John Love, who's made 54 field goals in his career, he's 84.4%. That's pretty impressive. And then you start talking to the kid in your office, and he's first class. He's a team leader. He's a captain. He knows all the team, the guys on the football team, not just in the specialist room. He's got a great demeanor. Really impressed by him. I mean, he's a pro. So we're excited, obviously, to have John, and he knows he wants to continue to improve, and our job is to continue to make him better, and he's been working like crazy, and he's excited for his senior year. And I think it's always important when you got a guy like him in the room and Christian, who's been here and they've played, and this is their senior year. It's important they leave it better than they found it, you know. And I think it's awesome when you're a coach and you have seniors in your room. It always means more, but it's important for those guys. And so, yes, they're huge. Christian starts every play on punt and field goal. He's done it here. He's been successful. He's been reliable and consistent. And then, you know, we're going to bring in some guys at the punting position, you know, to get that thing ironed out. And then we got some really good young kickers here and some young snappers that we'll develop, and we'll do a great job there with those guys.
David Teal with the Virginian Pilot. When James was in here, he mentioned that some head coaches and programs give special teams lip service.
Yeah.
He said that is not the case here. How do you, as a special teams coordinator, discern the difference when you are in an interview process, or maybe even when you're working for someone, and say, maybe he's not as all in as I had hoped?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's obviously actions over words, right? You know, head coaches can say it, but they have to back it up. And just in the short time that I've been here, Coach has done more than that. It's all hands on deck on special teams. I mean, it's the only time your team comes together, right? Offense, defense, and the specialist. It should be the strongest part of our football team. And the way he sees it is he's in every single meeting, which is huge to enforce that. The offense and defensive coordinators are going to enforce it in their unit meetings. The position coaches are going to enforce it in their position meetings. The position coaches are going to help us on special teams, coach those guys, and they're going to coach with as much intensity as they coach their positions on offense and defense as they do on special teams. Obviously, I'm the coordinator, and it starts and ends with me, but we also have a staff of special teams dedicated coaches. You know, we have not just one guy helping me, we got two. You know, one of them is Coach Wood, who came down from VMI, who's been a coordinator and a former punter and a former specialist. He's done a great job of developing those guys. We also have Coach Shearer, who has been a coordinator at multiple schools, most recently at Youngstown State. So the three of us are kind of that special teams battery, but it doesn't just start and end with all of us. We get everyone involved and all of our players, and you can see it from Coach, how much he demands of it and how much he loves special teams, and he understands the impact of it. And our goal is to change the game some way, somehow, and every play is the play is our mindset, and we're going to chip away at getting that done.
We'll go to the back of the room, Ryan.
Hey, Coach, how you doing? Ryan Moy, WFXR Sports. How are
Hey,
you?
how are you?
I'm okay. I'm doing all right. Just quick question. In terms of the fact that you are inheriting, you spoke a little bit about it, but how special it is to take over the special teams here at Virginia Tech and the history that goes into that. How excited were you to kind of get this opportunity?
Yeah, when I left the interview and went to the Roanoke Airport, I was like, I better make sure I get this job. That place was awesome. And then you take the ride to the airport and you just kind of, because it happens so fast, right? When you get the call, come down, interview, come down here, and then you start driving away and you're like, Beamer ball and the history of it, and Shane Graham and Joey Sly, and we're going to work to invite those guys back here, and they're welcome here as much as possible, and we want them at our camps around future Hokie specialists and the returners that have been here, and it's just really, really awesome, So when I got on that plane and it left Roanoke to head back up to the Northeast, I was pretty sure that I was going to take this job, but I was like, I better make sure I get that one. It's pretty special when you're the special teams coordinator at a place like Virginia Tech, and we respect that. We respect the history of it and the people that have come before us, and we're excited to continue to build and take on our own version of it and create another legacy of it as well.
I'm curious, have you met Frank Beamer? Has he been around at all?
I have not got a chance to meet Coach Beamer yet, but when I do, I will definitely pick his brain as much as I possibly can. Obviously, he's had a bunch of success. It's a place he went to school. I know that this place has honored his jersey number 25, and I know that we have plans to do similar things, and I'll let Coach Franklin, talk about that at a later date, because that's something that he'll touch on at some point. But yes, I look forward to meeting Coach.
Yeah, I'm curious, just from your background, how did you get into coaching? Was it always something you wanted to do? And why special teams specifically? How did you get on that
that's a great
path?
question. That's a great question. So, so I played high school football, played high school lacrosse, in Connecticut, went to high school in Connecticut. I'm 5'9" on a good day with red hair, and I wasn't athletic enough to play at a high level. I always wanted to go to the University of Connecticut because that's where I'm from. So I went to school at UConn. There was a head coach named Paul Pasqualoni, who was the longtime head coach at Syracuse, who's the all-time winningest coach in Big East history. And I was a student assistant, always wanted to be a coach. Growing up, thought I'd be a teacher and a high school coach at my high school in Connecticut. And Coach Pasqualoni gave me the opportunity to be a student assistant in the program, to learn. I learned from Clayton White, who was the special teams coordinator there at the time, and then ultimately got a graduate assistant job when I graduated in 2013 with Coach P at UConn. And then from there, you're just in it, and you're in the college landscape, and you just start chasing it, and you work at it every day. And Coach P put me into special teams because that was the only role that was left, to be the special teams student assistant. And I'll never forget this. He handed me a DVD of some old school cowboy punters and snappers and kickers. And he's like, all right, learn these drills and teach our guys, and I'm 20 years old, trying to figure it out. And special teams is incredible because you get to coach everybody. I get to stand in front of the entire football team, and there's O linemen on field goal, there's D linemen on field goal block, there's all different types of body types on the core 4 units. So it's exciting because you get to be around all the position groups. And so I've always, that's always been my niche. I've always been able to do that and embrace that and understand that part of the game, and went to NC State and was a GA there, and then QC, and then obviously been a coordinator at Miami, Ohio, and Connecticut the last 4 seasons. So I've loved it. I loved embracing it. I think it's an incredible part of the game, and looking forward to doing the same thing here.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys.